Hey YouTube, it's Theata again. I've got another video for you just to upload. This was done a little while ago, but I had a problem with the first two recordings of this. It's going to be another mirror match between Theata and Old Greg, Protoss Terran, and the opponents this time are IkatsuiKage and DootheDeww. So it's going to be on high orbit, and let's load it in. This one will be more tutorial based for Protoss. It'll show you what I did wrong, what you should really do, and how I do it, and probably why I do it. So I'm going to lock onto me, and basically you're really only going to see what I'm doing. To start off with, I just like to pause this quickly and show you one thing about BM that I don't like. BM is doing that, saying GG at the start of the game. To me, in my opinion, it tells me that basically you think that your opponents are poor players, and that they should leave because you are the superior player, and that you've already had your good game and you want the game to end. I think that's bad manners, and I don't really like it when people do that. I've seen people go NATO, and I know a lot of other people don't like it. So saying good luck, have fun is encouraged, saying GG or being BM, like saying BLFO, which is obviously bad luck, F off, and saying other things like that is generally frowned upon. In fact, it's actually discouraged from being done. So just wanted to let people know. And I won't go on about this because I know how boring it gets. So I'm just going to continue the video now, and I won't go back to that subject. In short, in this video I do stuff up quite badly. I don't produce probes quite as fluidly as you're supposed to. I get my second gas late, and I don't chrono as much as I should. Chrono boost is probably one of the most important things you can do as Protoss, because it speeds everything up by 50% for 20 seconds. So that in itself is a pretty important little thing you can do as Protoss, because being Protoss, everything takes forever and it costs a lot. You'll see quite a bit of these as well, actually. Little mighty boosh things from Old Greg and me. It's specifically the one that relates to Old Greg and the Mighty Boosh, so if you want to see that, I recommend it. It's quite funny. It's quite a strange sense of humour, really, but it's funny. Like I said, though, I'm going to keep going and do a tutorial sort of thing on how to do Protoss. Now, see this probe coming up here? I'm going to snipe it out as it goes through. Want to follow it, just in case that doesn't go well. Probably use a little too many workers, but you can really never go over the top when trying to kill one. But killing off that worker it actually costs them 50 minerals, and it costs them mining time, and it costs them production time of another one. So it may actually be worth sacrificing a little bit of your own mining time for it, just to kill that probe off, which is generally it can work in your favour sometimes, especially if it distracts them. With the order in which you build your buildings, obviously you've got to do it in a certain way: gateway, cybernetics core, and then whatever. But where you build them isn't really too much of a problem unless you're playing a Zerg. Then you should really either wall off here or here, just so they can't get in. With the assimilator, I know I'm a little late on this, but if you select 3 probes just before it's about to finish, like it's about 2 bars from the end, sort of thing. When it would be done, select 3 probes you want to mine on it, right click on the command center, hold shift and right click on the assimilator. That tells them to drop off anything and go back and start working the assimilator instead of going back to working. I also have control groups set up as 3 for the Nexus, 2 for the Robo Bay if I build one, or Stargate depending on what I build. Generally it's the Robo Bay. 1 is the primary army, which I have everything in, and 2 in case I'm playing 4. Sorry, in case I'm playing Zerg or I'm playing with some harass units that I'm just using for harass as well as doing other things. I don't tend to do that. That gas is about a minute late, and I don't suffer for it too much because I'm not building too many too many gas heavy units. It's going to be mostly stalkers, which aren't too gas heavy. A couple of zealots and a couple of sentries is all I'm actually going to build this game. And like I said, chrono boosting was very lax on this. This should be getting done in 20 seconds, but it's not. It's going to be done 20 game seconds, sorry, and it's going to be done a lot later than that. It should be done at about now-ish, generally. Okay, so it was bang on time. Who would have known? I thought it was actually quite late. Maybe I get it done even earlier, but the gates don't open for an extra 20 seconds, which is probably a major mistake. One thing I encourage your ally to do in 2v2s is take a high yield, especially if they're Terran, because they can planetary fortress it, and help your Terran if take out the destructible debris or whatever, just so they can get it, because if they planetary fortress it, and your enemy tries to attack it, you can easily defend it with just the planetary fortress sometimes, and sometimes just adding your army to it will make their army die a lot quicker, because the planetary fortress has just got two massive cannons that do massive amounts of splash. It really chews through the opponents, especially if your ally is repairing it, so it just basically as soon as it does that, it just repairs. And like I said, I've missed half of that chrono boost, which was accidental, believe it or not. But keeping at least 2 probes in when you've got a chrono boost is what I recommend to do, because during that time you got 34 seconds of construction time, and the chrono boost only lasts at 20. So basically, you've got an extra 14 seconds of build time there. So almost no matter where you have a probe at, having 2 in the construction queue will basically allow you to make full use of your chrono boost, as long as you've got supply for the second one. We were trying to do a 7.5 minute timing push, so move out at 7.5, attack at 8. We got in position at 8, which is just a little late, and the scan went down and we saw their entire army, and we decided not to attack because we were going to get swamped. That army is a lot bigger than ours, and we decided to actually go for the back door. We saw this coming out. Well, actually I saw it coming out, and I decided to go that way so they didn't see me going off the other way. They didn't actually see that army at all from looking at the other replays, and they killed that observer. No biggie really. I saved those units from going down there, so this has gone back into the macro side, so I'm going to open up the EPM. Putting down a proxy pylon and having this nexus come up. I keep on missing this one when I put it down, but putting this nexus down is pretty important, because if you can take damage put damage into them basically, and you can distract them from being able to macro, and all the while you've got a second base starting up, you're effectively increasing your lead a lot, because you're getting extra resources and they're not at the same sort of time as doing damage to them. So that's one thing that I do really believe in. Like I said, we're going to go in the back door though. Proxy pylons, another critical thing for Protoss. Instead of having your units walk from up here, get them to walk from here. It reduces walk time massively, and it means you can have units in there so much faster. I don't actually have a high APM. I don't really believe that you need one that high. Up goes the Guardian Shield to prevent extra damage, and splitting their army in half. Now that would probably be one of the most important things I've done. That split at least half of his Marines out, and the rest of that Protoss army behind. So all of those high damage Protoss units get stuck behind there and not able to actually hit us, and the Zealots get stuck behind there, and the sentries are too far away to really do much apart from Guardian Shield. They can't force field me away, and these guys up here get absolutely ripped to shreds because of all of this on a small little line of Marines with all its backup stuck behind a force shield, or 2 force shields even. 3 actually. Counting is not on spot today. But that is one thing that is really critical. If you can find a choke point to engage in, and you can force shield and Guardian Shield at the same time, you'll reduce every bit of damage they do by 2, and you'll stop at least. And if you drop the force shields at the right time, you'll drop force field. Sorry, I keep calling them force shield. I don't know why. You'll drop half their army in half, split half their army in half, and they'll be able to do half damage while you can do all the damage you like to them, and you'll be able to basically stop them in their tracks, and they'll lose more than you at the same time as you being able to control the battlefield a lot better. When you get this sort of play going, though, it can be quite difficult, especially if your opponent does the same thing. Force fielding back can be quite difficult to get through, but if you've got a massive unit, just tell the massive unit to walk through the force shield and it'll smash them to bits. It's quite fun actually doing that. But anyway, I'll keep this replay going. There goes the rest of those marines, and the force shields will start to drop now. This one that has all the energy on it is going to get sniped. There it goes, and I've got more coming in now. But I'm not going to force shield and split these very well. I was trying to get half of those two units up in there to go to the other side, but I didn't really need to. I just really felt like doing that so they didn't do too much damage. And the order in which you take out your opponent's base is quite critical. I did this a different way to what I would normally do it. I took out the pylons so they couldn't warp in more units to reinforce. For a Protoss, that's actually pretty good to take out the pylons. But after you take out the pylons, that'll supply block them and prevent them from having powered structures. Make sure you take out production facilities, because if you can prevent them from producing anything at all, you will actually do more damage in the long run than what you would do by not taking them out. Because if they just power them straight back up, they've got all their production back. If you take them out, they have to repower everything else, and then they have to make the production again, and that's going to be at least 120 seconds odd sort of thing that they've got nothing being able to be done for, and you've got 120 extra seconds to build extra units. Just a little note on that force shield that went down over here when they were sending their probes in. Force shields are really good for stopping melee attacks, especially banelings. If you see me doing it to banelings, I'll basically force shield cone around in front of the units in like a cone shape, a bevel shape, and it stops the banelings from getting close, and we can just shoot them away before they get close enough to actually do any damage. Sometimes I even try and do a technique which I probably can't even do, which is donut some of the banelings in, or confine them to a small space so they can't get out and shoot them to death. That generally works quite well against Zerg. But that was the GG, and that's basically how you play a little bit of Protoss. If you've got any suggestions for me, please feel free to send them to me or leave them in the comments. I can't promise to read every comment, but I will read most things you send to my inbox. Like even though because I was microing everything, I wasn't doing much macro at my base, so I've got full saturation here nearly, and just started saturation here if I needed it, which I ended up not needing it. Robotics facility just sat there being unused for most of this because I didn't need to counter anything like Mass Stalker or Mass Thor or Mass Marauder. I just used the gateway units. Possible upgrades I would have gone into would have been Charge for the Zealots, Blink for the Stalkers, and obviously upgrading the weapons and armour. So thank you for listening to me babble for another probably 13 minutes, and I will see you guys next time on the battlefield if I have another one to upload. See you later.